This channel is for mature audiences only. If you're underage on this channel, your parents' mom should have swallowed them or spit them out.
What's good? This is your boy Internal Sadist, and this video is going to be about why Black Lives don't matter at the end of the day. Sorry I'm late on doing this video. I forgot that this video was in queue on my computer, and I thought it was on my phone, and I forgot to do it. Sorry about that. So I'm doing it now to finish it out. The problem with Black Lives Matter is the very problem that a lot of people have in life. They basically want to focus on one thing, but they don't want to focus on the other half of the problem to make it so they can make the whole entire thing a better thing. Like a good example of Black Lives Matter is me being me. I'm Afro-Latino. So basically what you're telling me is if another black person kills me, my life doesn't matter. But if a white person or a cop kills me, now it's a problem. Now my life matters. Like, so when the black person killed me, it didn't really bother anybody, or it wasn't of any importance because I wasn't important enough to, remotely, put on the news. But when, a cop does it, now all of a sudden it's very important that I get my airtime, which I've always found bullshit. Like, you can't sit up here and tell me that it matters in one instance when it doesn't matter in another instance. A good example of that is a thing that I always bring up. We complained about one guy being shot by the police, when in fact 5 people in the same fucking city was shot by one black person in the inner city over the one holiday weekend. And you mean to tell me none of their lives matter? None of their lives matter. Didn't even get airtime, didn't even get playtime, nobody even said anything, nobody even batted an eye. I think the local news even tried to glance over that shit too. And the sad part about that is this is the problem with Black Lives Matter. You can't tell me something matters when the very people themselves don't give a damn about their damn selves. It just doesn't work like that. If they're willing to kill themselves, you can't tell me it matters when one group of people do it to them, but when they do it to themselves on a regular basis, it's perfectly fine. The sad part about that, there's this running meme on Facebook and social media where it says how many the number of people that the KKK has killed over the many years of them being the KKK. Black people killed that within a month. That many people that the KKK killed over many, many years of their whole entire operation, black people exceed that in a month. Like, let that shit sink in for a second. But you want to tell me that Black Lives Matter when in fact black people kill themselves more than the KKK has killed themselves. Like, make that make sense to me. This is the very problem that I have with it. Because you can't sit up here and tell me that it matters when in fact the very people who commit the crimes against each other, it don't really matter to them. It's basically like just some other nigga basically to them, or a pair of shoes, or they have a nice shirt, so they had to take their shirt, kill them and take their shirt, or over some fucking female basically. And the sad part about that is like these are all dumbass reasons to kill somebody at the end of the day. But we want to sweep over it. And another thing I've always noticed about when black on black violence, they'll always try to chalk it up as maybe it was gang related or drugs or or mistaken identity or something stupid like that. When it's black on black violence, it's always got to be chalked up to organized crime basically. And the sad part about that, not all niggas are a part of organized crime. So when a nigga gets shot, it could be for any damn thing. It could be because he basically was there to pick up his children, and he was in a person's way, and the person was mad that he was in somebody's way while he's picking up his children at school, and next thing you know, you got a nigga rolling up on you, shooting you in broad daylight because you were in his girlfriend's way, and she really wanted to get to the class basically, and you actually parked your car wrong basically. I mean, niggas get shot over the dumbest reasons by niggas, and it's like the craziest thing in the world. But we want to overlook that or like blow by that like it ain't shit. And the problem with it is they'll say another good example. They'll say systemic racism is why we're in this situation. Okay, that's fine and all, but right now you're in a better position to do whatever you want with your life and make it better. But you don't take the opportunity to because it's not cool enough, and you don't want to be a lame, basically. So you're going to sit up here and tell me that it's cool to, it's cool to want to it's cool to want to, do stupid shit with your life and get in trouble and probably end up dead than it is to do stuff better with your life because you want the attention of these fucking females who praise niggas that sell drugs and kill niggas and shit like that. You pray you because you want that attention basically. And the sad part about that is I understand that and I understand that society, but at the end of the day, you got to make yourself a better person because at the end of the day, all these heifers that talk about you know this nigga O Dog is sexy because he sells drugs, or this nigga O Dog is sexy because he shot at people in the face. They're gonna get older, they're gonna have children, and they're gonna be looking for a nigga like you with an education basically to take care of them and all their children. It's just the nature of the beast. That's basically how it works. And you're gonna be caught up in that situation at the end of the day. You can blame systemic racism, but like Jamaicans, Africans, Afro Latinos all don't have the same problem that you do. They can pretty much come here or do what they need to do and move up the social ladder basically faster than you ever will. And the sad part about that is this is the reason why there's a rift between those groups and you for the fact that you've been here all your fucking life and you've gotten nowhere. This is the reason why Africans look down their nose at African Americans. This is the reason why Afro Latinos look down their nose at African Americans. This is the reason why Jamaicans and Caribbean blacks look down their nose at African Americans for the fact that you've been here all your life and you've gotten nowhere, and you still in the same damn spot, if not less. You're worse off than they are. Because I know a lot of Jamaicans that come here with nothing and make something out of nothing. Basically, a lot of Africans do the same thing. A lot of Afro Latinos do the same damn thing too. Um, and the sad part about that is you got a bunch of people that've been here forever who got all the opportunities in the world, but they take none of them. But you want to tell me that your life matters when in fact you care very little about your life to improve your life, all because pop culture and not going to school is I mean not going to school and selling drugs and doing all this shooting and killing is more important to you, and getting this money is more important to you than actually getting an education. Learning these rap songs is more important to you than remembering your arithmetics. And it's the sad thing about it's like that's what makes it so sad. And then on top of that, you got like people will say, well, redlining. Well, Jamaicans don't have a problem with getting loans for fucking gas stations and shit like that they own, or hardware stores that they own. Africans don't have a hard time getting loans for businesses that they own in your neighborhood or around various neighborhoods. Afro Latinos don't have a problem with doing that either. So what is the problem with you? Hell, Afro Caribbeans don't even have a problem with like opening up bodegas and stores and shit like that in neighborhoods. So, what is it about you that you can't do this, and what makes it so that you want to have an excuse or a crutch to do what you need to do? The sad part about that is your government got you so fucked up that you believe that you ain't shit, while all the Jamaicans and all the Caribbeans and all the Africans and all the Afro Latinos are rising up the ladder. You're just staying still. You're staying stagnant. Do you want to talk to people like me and Jamaicans and Haitians and all them people and tell them that you should do for your community when in fact we're not even a part of your community? We're Haitian, we're Afro Latino, we're Jamaican, we're we're African, but we're not African American. We basically are doing for our community. You can't sit up here and be mad at me for doing for my community and not doing for your community when you're not willing to do for your community yourself. There's only but so much we can do for your community. The sad part about that is at the end of the day, even if we open a store in your community, you'll complain about the prices and say, and want a hookup or want a deal. But the sad part about that is I can't give you that hookup or deal if I just open the freaking doors to my business and I don't have the customer base to warrant a deal from the fucking distributor. The more people that come to my store, the better off I can be and the better deals I can actually make with the distributor when I start selling shit out of my store, and the better the prices can be. Until then, I have to sell it at this rate so I can make a profit and stuff. And the sad part about that is that's not the only problem with it. Now you got motherfuckers that just want to steal from your store. So now the store in your neighborhood is being robbed on a regular basis by somebody who just wants to rob your store. So now I got to keep my prices at a certain rate because niggas want to steal. I don't know how many niggas I done seen walk out of like various stores and various high-end stores with goods and stuff like that and expect the prices not to go up. Every time you steal, the consequences to you stealing is the prices either go up or stay the same, no matter how much of a deal they're getting from the distributor, because they got to make up for the fact that you just rob product from them at the end of the day. Because your insurance company is not really going to cover you stealing. They'll arrest you and shit like that. You might do some restitution, but at the end of the day, until then, they still gotta make back that fucking profit that you robbed them for. And it's stuff like this, like breaking the store window of a store in your neighborhood that's the only store of subsistence because there's no other supermarkets and it's the only convenience store in your neighborhood where you can get anything and everything out of it. You want to break the windows and steal from it, and now the doors don't want to open. Now you want to complain about there not being a store in your neighborhood. How's that work? Like, how's that work really? You robbed a man, you broke the windows of a minority who looks like you, stole all the shit out of their store. Now their store is closed for good, and now you're complaining that there's no stores in your neighborhood. How's that work? Then on top of that, you got like we'll talk about like all this other stuff where they talk about, well, we're being treated unfairly. We're treated like animals. Well, you can't treat something like something. You can't treat something like something that they're not treating themselves. So if you're being treated like an animal, you have to stop acting like an animal. And what I mean by acting like an animal is you can't be out here doing senseless killings, then expecting everybody to take you seriously. You can't be out here killing 5 people over the Memorial Day weekend holiday over some stupid shit, like some minute stupid shit, and then expecting me to take you serious about your life really mattering when you just off like 5 people over the Memorial Day weekend. Like, it doesn't work like that. Or you off somebody over some motherfucking Jordans. Or you off somebody because they accidentally bumped into you. Or you off somebody because they accidentally stepped on your shoes. Or you off somebody because they talked to a woman who should be they talked to your woman who should actually be able to, be trustworthy enough to tell somebody that they got a man, but she was all flirting and cutesy with that person. So now you got to off that person over some woman. Or you're talking to a man that didn't know she was in a relationship, and he basically backs off, but you want to shoot him anyway because of pride. Like, come on now. You can't sit up here and tell me that your life the lives really matter when you're willing to kill people over dumb, minute, stupid shit. It doesn't work like that. I've always been in the mindset if you got to be the change that you want to see in your neighborhood. You got to be the change that you want to see in your neighborhood at the end of the day. If you're not the change that you want to see in your neighborhood, then nobody's going to take you fucking seriously. If you're not making the necessary changes and steps to better yourself, nobody's going to take you fucking seriously or believe that you really matter when in fact you don't really matter to yourself, or you have very little care to no care for your own self at the end of the day. And it's sad to watch people do this and pretend like they really matter when in fact they really don't. I've seen so many people who want to portray that their lives matter, but they care very little about their lives. Or they'll tell me that they care very little about their life. I don't care if I live or die. Like, nigga, you care if you live or die. That attitude that you're putting on is the reason why you probably get shot or fucked with on a regular basis. I mean, people say, well, that shouldn't matter, and this and the other. Well, we live in a real world. We don't live in a textbook world. We live in a real world where shit actually happens. And if you actually portray yourself a certain way, you're going to be treated that way. If you're going to act like a thug and a gangster, you're going to be treated like a thug and a gangster. If you're going to do stupid shit or betray behavior like a thug and a gangster or an animal, you're going to be treated like a thug, gangster, or an animal at the end of the day. I don't have sympathy for people who want to portray themselves in a negative light, but then want sympathy for the shit that happens after them. Hell, I don't have sympathy for women who get themselves into bad relationships. I'm not going to have sympathy for you for running around here acting like a gangster and sticking your head into somebody's car and going blup, 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 and you expecting somebody to take it as a joke. Like, no, it doesn't work like that, because I actually see that shit happen. And the sad part about that, one of the times when I've seen that shit happen, the dude ended up on a short end of a gun and dead. And then the parents want to sit up there and act like their child was so great when in fact I literally watched him stick his hand in the fucking car near a little girl's head and go blup blup blup, and a guy was just responding to his daughter being in danger, and he shot the kid in the chest. The sad part about that, the only thing that made me pissed me off about the situation is if that guy would have missed, I would have been shot. All because you want to be stupid and act like a stupid ass animal. You want to do stupid shit like this, and you expect everybody to treat you like a fucking human being. When you're doing dumb shit like that don't warrant you being a human being, in my eyes, and at least been. I'd have shot you. I'd have shot you more than once. I'd have shot that kid so many fucking times. I'd have been on the news, and they'd have been dragging me for life. They've been trying to get the death penalty out of my black ass. That's how many shots. That's how many. I'd have emptied the fucking clip, reloaded, and emptied the fucking clip on that kid again over my daughter sitting in the back seat like that. Oh no, it don't work like that. And the sad part about that is you want to pretend like he done nothing wrong. It was just a joke. No, you acting like you got a gun and sticking it in somebody's daughter's face is not a fucking joke. That is not a fucking joke. That's life or death. He don't know you got a gun. All he knows there's something in his daughter's face, and he got to protect his damn daughter. Your life means nothing to him at that point in time because his daughter's life is in danger as far as he knows, according to his perception. That's the problem with people. It's called perception. If you can't change the perception of somebody about you, it's never going to change about you, and they're always going to assume the worst when it comes to you. This is why your life don't fucking matter. Because you're not willing to change the perception of yourself. You're not willing to put in the work to change anything about you so everybody can see a different version of you, so they could possibly be like, oh, okay, he's an upstanding citizen. They're upstanding citizens, and they're really good people. The sad part about that, you're not willing to do that. You're on this kick. Accept me for me. Ask the feminists how that's working out for them when it comes to their love life. Accept me for me. Still single and still lonely, or pumped and dumped and a single mother. Ask your mom how set me for me is working out for her with that parade of men that keeps on coming through her fucking door that you see on a regular basis. Until then, you got to actually change. You got to change who you are and be the change that you want to see in your neighborhood, so people won't treat you like shit, or people won't treat you like animals, or people won't treat you like a thug. Because at the end of the day, if you glorify a culture that was created by the rap industry, they're going to treat you that way. Sad part about that is around the world, that's exactly how they see African American people, as thugs. You're a thug no matter where you go. The sad part about that, I've talked about this many times in videos where I went to many different countries, and white women in those countries asked me to act like a gangster. That's exactly how they see African Americans and black people. This is exactly why blacks from other groups of subsets and groups don't want to associate with you, because this is not our bag. We don't want to act gangster. We want to actually be a member of society. We don't want to be a drain on society. It's sad, but it's true. And the faster you get over this, and the faster you end up being, the faster you get over this, and the better you end up being in life. The better you'll end up being treated if you actually make the necessary changes, so people can look at you and be like, okay, they're not so bad at people as we thought they were. But the sad part about that is you actually got to make that change, and nobody wants to make that change. Everybody wants to be in this illusional world where you have to accept me for me. Trust me, if I went out there talking about you accept me for me, I wouldn't have half the opportunities that I've ever gotten in life. If I went out there with the attitude accept me for me, I'd probably be shot and dead my damn self. But I don't. And the sad part about that, I have every opportunity to do that shit because I'm from a third world country. You have no excuse. You're from a first world country where the ghetto's even better than the ghetto's even better than most third world countries. Well, the ghetto's usually better than all third world countries. But that's neither here nor there. So you got to actually make the necessary changes to your life to make yourself a better human being at the end of the day. If you're not willing to do that, you can't expect people to take you seriously or see you as an actual productive human being in society. They'll see you as an animal. As long as you act like an animal, they'll see you as that animal. If you act like a thug, they'll see you as that thug, and they'll perceive you as a thug, basically, or an animal. And they'll shoot you in the streets like a thug or an animal, or like a hunter shoots fucking deer for food in the winter. It is what it is. You can't do one thing and expect everybody to ride with you 100% and accept it. Like if you're going to do stupid shit, it's kind of like what we say: you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes in a manosphere. You can't do that. You can't do that and expect everybody to treat you like a human being. You can't do that and expect everybody to want to, treat you like an equal when in fact you're acting like an infantile human being. Not even an infantile human being. You're acting like an animal. Like, no, you can't do that and expect everybody to treat you like some fair and square person. And the last thing why Black Lives Don't Matter is the lovely person that all y'all were riding for, talking about it's a legit organization. This, that, and the other. This, that, and the other. None of the money went towards any black people whatsoever, besides that black heifer who bought herself a $1.4 million house. How much does Black Lives Matter to that bitch with that $1.4 million house? Black lives didn't matter to her. Her own Black Lives matter to her. She bought herself a $1.4 million house. That's how much she cared about Black Lives Mattering. She cared about her own Black Lives Mattering and her own sustainability and her own grift. She grifted the fuck out of every damn body, and now she owns a $1.4 million house, and none of the money went towards helping any black people, re-educating cops, to uplifting a community. None of that shit. It uplifted her ass to a $1.4 million house. It's kind of like the joke that uh, Charles Barkley made about the tax cuts for the rich, basically, that Trump handed out. He goes, yeah, it's going to trick. He goes, yeah, it's called trickle down. I'm gonna trickle my ass down to the Rolex shop and buy me a Rolex. While your ass watch me buy this Rolex, basically. And that's literally how it is. She literally trickled down. She literally trickled that shit down to her pockets to get that $1.4 million house. And the rest of that money, I'm willing to bet, is probably sitting somewhere paying for her taxes for that house and paying for her expenses to do whatever the fuck she want while y'all still finance that heifer. Sucks being y'all. Y'all got grifted. Such a legit company. She literally laundered that shit to buy her a house. And I'm willing to bet any money she probably included that house in the business so she can say it's the headquarters or some shit like that. So she can justify why she bought a $1.4 million house. It's basically how it works. It's nature of the beast. Because at the end of the day, I would do the same damn thing if I was her. But only I would do it properly and say it's a business house, basically. She probably did it, and now she's probably going to turn around and be like, oh, yeah, they caught me. Now I got to do something. Oh, yeah. Underwrite it under the business. That's exactly what she's going to do. And she's not going to lose that house, even though she, laundered money from it, because she's basically, unless somebody finds out later that she's actually changed it at the later date and time to make it a business thing, nobody's going to do anything about it. But that's enough for today. Y'all be blessed and sort your lives out and make yourselves a better human being. Be the change that you want to be. Be the change that you want to see in your neighborhood, basically. Be the change that you want to be as a human being at the end of the day. If you're not willing to do that, then you can't expect everybody else to believe you and want to rap with you 100% at the end of the day. This is Internal Sadist. I'm out.
You look like you. Yeah. Yeah.